They say every house has its secrets, but in the grand estate of Chief Odogwu, one secret threatened to destroy everything he held dear. When the beautiful maid Adama arrived, no one imagined the chaos she would unleash. This is a tale of love, deceit, and revenge, where the sweetest smile hides the sharpest blade. The city of Lagos, Nigeria, was where dreams were made and broken. Amidst the bustling traffic and the hum of commerce, there stood the palatial mansion of Chief Odogwu, a symbol of power and influence. The chief was a man of immense wealth, respected and feared by many. To the outside world, he was the epitome of success, but within the high walls of his estate, a storm was brewing. Chief Odogwu's household was managed by his elegant wife, Madam Nenena, who was known for her beauty and grace. She ran their home with precision, ensuring everything was in perfect order. But despite their outward display of wealth and harmony, the cracks in their marriage were starting to show. Chief Odogwu was not a faithful man. Over the years, he had developed a reputation for chasing after beautiful women, much to the dismay of his wife. And it was in this state of discord that the stunning maid, Adama, arrived. Adama was a young woman in her early 20s, with skin as smooth as polished ebony and eyes that could pierce through the darkest night. She had been sent from her village by her impoverished family, hoping to find work and send money back home. Little did anyone know, Adama had a different plan in mind. "Welcome to our home," Madam Nena greeted Adama, her tone cold yet polite. "Thank you, Ma. I promise to work hard and do my best," Adama replied, her voice soft and humble. Adama quickly settled into her duties. She was diligent, obedient, and always had a smile on her face. However, behind that smile lay a cunning mind focused on a mission. For Adama, this job was not just a means to survive. It was her ticket to revenge. Years ago, Chief Odogwu had ruined her family, leaving them destitute. Her father died in despair, and her mother had struggled to feed her siblings. Now, Adama was here to avenge her father's death by destroying the man who had caused her family's downfall. It didn't take long for Chief Odogwu to notice the new maid. Adama's beauty was like a magnet, drawing his gaze every time she entered the room. She was different from the other maids. Her graceful movements, her soft laughter, and the way she seemed to light up the room with her presence. One evening, after a long day at work, Chief found himself alone in the study with Adama. She had brought him a glass of palm wine, and as she turned to leave, Chief called out to her. "Adama, wait," he said, his voice smooth and confident. "You've been working so hard. Sit with me for a moment." Adama hesitated, knowing exactly where this was leading, but she played her part well. "But sir, I don't want Madam to think I'm not doing my job," she responded, her eyes wide with feigned innocence. Chief Odogwu waved away her concerns. "Madam won't know," he said with a sly smile. "Just a few minutes, that's all." And so it began. The chief's flirtation with Adama turned into a full-blown affair. At first, it was stolen moments in hidden corners of the house, but soon it escalated to late-night meetings in his private guest room. Adama knew how to keep him wanting more, all while subtly manipulating him to gain his trust. Adama's influence over Chief Odogwu grew stronger with each passing day. She convinced him to buy her expensive gifts, showering her with jewelry, clothes, and money that she secretly funneled back to her family. Chief was completely under her spell, blinded by his desire for her. Meanwhile, Madam Nena was not as oblivious as her husband thought. She had noticed the change in Chief's behavior, the late-night disappearances, the sudden generosity with the staff. She began to suspect that Adama was behind it all, but she had no proof. One evening, Madame Nenena decided to test her theory. She summoned Adama to her room under the pretense of needing assistance. "Adama," Madame Nenena began, her voice sweet yet laced with steel, "I've heard rumors that my husband has taken a special liking to you. Tell me, is there any truth to this?" Adama, ever the actress, looked shocked. "No, Ma, I would never do such a thing. Chief has been kind to me, but I respect my position in this house," she said, her eyes brimming with fake tears. But Madame Nenena was not convinced. She decided to take matters into her own hands. She hired a private investigator to follow Adama and uncover whatever secrets the maid was hiding. The investigator's findings were explosive. He discovered that Adama had not only seduced Chief Odogwu, but was also secretly siphoning money from him. However, the most shocking revelation was Adama's true motive for being in the household: to destroy Chief Odogwu and his empire, as revenge for what he did to her family. Armed with this information, Madame Nenena set a trap for Adama. She invited her husband and the maid to a dinner party with close family friends, creating a false sense of security. Adama, unaware of the plot against her, wore a dazzling red dress that Chief had gifted her, fully believing that she was in control. As the evening progressed, Madame Nenena stood up to make a toast. "To my husband, the man who has given me everything," she said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "And to Adama, who has served us so faithfully, let us celebrate the bonds of trust." The room erupted in applause, but Madame Nenena wasn't done yet. "And now," she continued, her voice growing colder, "I would like to show everyone a little surprise I prepared." The lights dimmed, and a projector flickered on. The guests watched in shock as footage of Chief Odogwu and Adama in compromising situations played on the screen. Gasps filled the room, and Chief's face turned ashen. "What is the meaning of this?" Chief roared, turning to Adama. But before she could respond, Madame Nenena stepped forward, holding up the investigator's report. "You see, my dear husband, you've been played," she said, her voice dripping with satisfaction. "Adama here was never just a maid. She came here to ruin you, to avenge her father's death." With her secrets exposed, Adama's world crumbled. "Do you know who I am, Chief?" she asked, her tone cold and cutting. Chief Odogwu furrowed his brows, clearly unsettled, but still trying to maintain his composure. "Adama, what is the meaning of this?" he asked, his voice laced with irritation. "You've lived your life in luxury, untouched by the destruction you've caused," Adama said, her voice rising. "But let me remind you of what you did. Let me tell you about my father, Chukwuma." Chief's expression froze at the mention of the name, but he remained silent. "My father was a proud man, a self-made man. He built one of the largest paint companies in Lagos with his blood, sweat, and tears. We were happy, living a life filled with love and comfort, until you showed up," Adama spat. Chief Odogwu shifted uncomfortably, his eyes darting around the room as if searching for an escape. "You came to him one day, offering to buy his company. But my father refused. He told you it wasn't for sale, that it was his legacy for his children. And what did you do? You threatened him. You told him you would ruin us, destroy everything he loved if he didn't sell. Out of fear for his family, my father gave in. He sold you the company for a fraction of its worth, thinking he could start again." Adama's voice cracked as tears streamed down her face. "But you weren't done, were you? You couldn't stand the thought of him rebuilding. When he moved to Abuja to start another paint company, despite your threats, you hunted him down. You found him, and you killed him." Chief Odogwu's face paled. "What? No, don't you dare deny it," Adama screamed, her voice echoing through the room. You didn't even stop to think about what would happen to his family. My mother was left to raise us alone, broken and penniless. We were thrown into the streets, forced to fend for ourselves. My siblings and I had to grow up without a father because of you." Chief Odogwu's wife, Madame Nena, gasped audibly from the corner of the room. "Is this true, Odogwu?" she whispered, her voice trembling. Chief Odogwu looked stunned, his lips moving but no words coming out. He slumped into his chair, burying his face in his hands. I didn't know. I never thought. You didn't think," Adama interrupted, her voice dripping with venom. "You just acted, destroying lives without a second thought. My father was a good man. He didn't deserve to die like that." The room fell into a heavy silence, broken only by the sound of Adama's sobs. Madame Nena looked at her husband with a mix of shock and disgust. "You mean to tell me that one of your businesses, the one we've always been so proud of, was stolen from a man you killed?" Chief Odogwu looked up, his eyes filled with shame. "It wasn't supposed to go this far," he murmured. I wanted the company. I didn't mean for him to die." Adama laughed bitterly, shaking her head. "And yet he did. My father is dead because of your greed. My family suffered because of you. Do you think your excuses mean anything to me?" Chief Odogwu fell to his knees, his head bowed. "Adama, please. I know I can never undo what I've done, but I'm begging you for forgiveness. Please, let me make it right." For years, she had dreamed of this moment, of ending the man who had taken everything from her. But as she looked at him now, broken and defeated, something inside her shifted. "You think an apology is enough?" she said, her voice icy. "It's not me you need to beg for forgiveness. My mother is the only one who can decide whether to forgive you." Without another word, Adama stepped back. She pulled out her phone and called her family. Within hours, her mother and siblings arrived at the mansion, their faces filled with confusion and pain. Chief Odogwu and Madame Nena knelt before them, tears streaming down their faces as they begged for forgiveness. "We are deeply sorry for what we've done," Chief Odogwu said, his voice breaking. "Please, let us make amends." Adama's mother, though visibly shaken, nodded slowly. "I forgive you," she said, her voice soft but firm. "Not for your sake, but for mine. Carrying this hatred has only brought me more pain." Chief Odogwu wiped his tears and turned to Adama. "I know forgiveness is a lot to ask for, but I want to do something to help your family rebuild. I will give you 100 million naira as compensation." Adama's siblings gasped, and even her mother looked stunned. But Adama remained unmoved. "You can't buy forgiveness," she said, her voice steady. "But I'll take the money, not for myself, but to honor my father. I'll use it to start a paint company in his name. His legacy deserves to live on, even if he isn't here to see it." With that, Adama and her family left the mansion. Though her mother had forgiven Chief Odogwu, Adama knew she could never truly let go of the pain. But as she poured her energy into building her father's company, she felt a sense of justice. Her father's name would live on, not as a victim of greed, but as a symbol of resilience and strength. And though she hadn't taken Chief Odogwu's life, she had taken something far more valuable, his pride and his peace of mind. Greed and selfish ambition can destroy lives, but forgiveness and resilience can rebuild them. In seeking justice, we must strive to honor the past while building a better future. Hey guys, if you got to this point of this video, comment where you are watching from, give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe for more amazing stories. But for now, bye.